See him a beast when you hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when you hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch and the champ only need one round like yeah, me, I'm a G-Ring, he in the sound like
Mike Owens here, joined by Grant Dawson, who returns to action 1st of July, facing Damir Ismagulov. Grant, a pleasure to get your time. How are things with you today?
I'm good, man. Camp's been going great. One of the best camps I've had. Feeling really good, man. But we're coming down to the wire. We're about 2 weeks out, and I'm really ready to get this going.
We heard people say they've had a great camp. What constitutes a great camp for you? Like, what are the essential steps apart from good training? What is the essential steps to having a good camp?
I think it would just be consistent with good training partners and no injuries and the weight coming down. If the weight's not coming off, it's not a very good camp. That's my motto. I've been able to, I've been far enough out that I don't have to, go crazy with my diet. I don't have to eat nothing but lettuce and sniff cheeseburgers the whole time. So it's been pretty good, man. But we're at the last 2 weeks. We got 14 days, and I'm ready to get going.
Give me your scouting report on your upcoming opponents. What does he do well, and what do you think are potential areas you could exploit?
Man, I think he's got some of the best boxing in the UFC. I think he's got a really, really good jab. Very, very impressive jab. Very impressive check hook. He slides backwards with his check hook really, really well. And he draws you into that straight cross of his immensely well. But I think stylistically, I'm just a bad matchup for him. And I think this is one of those matchups that's really fun for the fans, because we know what he's going to try to do. We know what I'm going to try to do. And it's all about who's better at their game.
No, 100%. That was one of the points I wanted to mention, actually. Do you feel you need to mix in the wrestling to have success in this fight? Do you feel like, how key do you think your wrestling ability will be to getting this over the line?
Man, I think that yes, I absolutely think it's a key. I definitely think that it's one of the keys to victory. That being said, I think it's a key to victory in every single one of my fights. You can watch as much film on me as you want. You can call me a wrestler as much as you want, but until you feel me on top of you and see what kind of danger that I have on top of you, it's all speculation. So I'm always going to go in there looking to wrestle. If I'm fighting Damir or if I'm fighting Ryan Hall, I'm looking to wrestle.
In what ways can you look at Damir Ismagulov's last fight against Arman Tsarukyan? That was his first loss in the UFC. In what ways can you look at that and take a particular part of Tsarukyan's game plan and apply that to your own?
Yeah, I think that I think Arman's got really good wrestling. I think he's got really, really good wrestling, really, really good takedowns. I think that my one criticism to Arman would probably be that he's not as big of a finisher when he does get the takedown. When he gets on top, he's not as dangerous there, and I think that I'm different in that scenario. I think that getting the takedowns can probably be a little bit more difficult for me than it was for Arman, but I can guarantee you, once I do get that takedown, Damir's going to be in a lot more trouble than he was with Arman.
No, that makes sense. Are you looking at this fight, with the greatest of respect to your recent UFC run, are you looking at this fight with Ismagulov as a step up in competition? Do you think? Sorry, go on.
No, I'm sorry. I thought your question. Absolutely. He's by far the best dude I've fought. He's by far the best record, most intimidating, comes from the scariest country. The list goes on and on and on. He's absolutely the best guy that I've fought. But that's what I wanted. I wanted that. I wanted this co-main event spot. I wanted this position to show the UFC what I'm made of. I'm the underdog coming into this fight, and that's the first time in my career that I've been an underdog, and I'm so happy that happened. I get to prove to not just myself, but I get to prove to the UFC and the fans that when I'm put in these big fight positions, I can perform. I kind of dropped the ball the last time I was a co-main event when I fought Ricky Glenn. We moved on, we recouped, everything's back to normal, and we're ready to go. Is
there a mentality shift being the underdog?
No, I wouldn't say so. It's it's not. There's no. I think it's more so for everybody else. Everybody's like, oh, like they finally think that Grant's met his match, and I'm here. It's like I'm excited to prove that that's not going to affect me. You got to remember these odds are wrong 50% of the time. If they weren't, people would just bet on the favorite every single time and win money.
Yeah, of course. That's a very, very true statement. You've kind of been in the last couple of years, with the greatest of respect, operating in that top 15, top 20 range. Ranked number 14, you're coming up against number 12. Does this feel like the next logical step to progress out of that fringes of top contention right into maybe not the title picture necessarily, but certainly in that top 10, top 5 range?
Yeah, I think this is one of those fights where it really depends on what the performance is that will show me what the next step is. You know, if I go in there and I win a split decision, it's probably like, you know, Matt Favola or you know, somebody right outside the top 15 is next. You know, if I go in and I win a unanimous decision, we're talking Jalen Turner, we're talking Dan Hooker. If I go in there and I finish Damir, then we're talking top 5. We're talking Michael Chandler once him and Connor don't end up fighting. Where, you know, this is one of those fights that's so great because no matter what, even God forbid I lose, you know, okay, we've got some more information kind of where I'm at. Let's get better and let's move on.
You mentioned there the top end of the division. I've got to ask you very quickly on your thoughts last week. Charles Oliveira coming back and defeating a guy who I believe you've called out. You said you would like to fight in the near future in Beneil Dariush. Just your overall thoughts on the UFC 289 co-main event.
Man, the fight went exactly how I thought it went, and we've got a bunch of Brazilians on the team, and I told every single one of them that would listen that Charles Oliveira was going to absolutely run through Beneil Dariush, and not a single one of them believed me. My good friend Thiago Moises, he was even like, you know, hey man, I think you're wrong on this one, and I was like, guys, like we're talking about a guy that has, you know, he finished Justin Gaethje. He finished a good friend of mine at Dustin Poirier. He finished, you know, he's finishing all of these fights. Michael Chandler, he's finishing all these guys. And Dariush was kind of just squeaking by them. He went to a split decision with Diego Ferreira, which, you know, winning's winning. He was getting beaten by Drew Dober until he wasn't. And I was not impressed with his fight with Tony Ferguson. And he won, but I wasn't impressed by it. You know, I think that people were really overlooking Charles Oliveira, and it's a really sad thing in our sport is if you lose to one of the best guys in the world, not just in our weight class, in the world, then all of a sudden you suck. And it's just it's something I don't like about our sport. You're only as good as your last fight. I completely disagree with that. If that was true, anybody coming off a loss could never get back into the win column.
Where do you think that stems from? Do you think that stems from the fan base? Do you think that stems from the media? Where do you think that sentiment of the whole one loss and you completely burn off, where do you think that kind of comes from in the sport?
It comes from boxing. We took a lot of things from boxing that we shouldn't have, i.e., you know, judging, i.e., you know, protecting your record and this kind of stuff like that. We took a lot of stuff from boxing, and when you're a boxer and it's so political in boxing, and the problem with boxing is it's so hard to lose in boxing because there's only one way to lose, and that's be a worse boxer. Does that make sense?
Yes,
you know, they don't have they don't have as many they have knockouts, but they don't have as many like the only way this guy can win is by knockout, you know, and it's like, oh shit, he got him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the 4 ounce glove.
Less variables.
Exactly. With 4 ounce gloves on, and we're doing everything as slim as the chance might be, I could upset Francis Ngannou. It could happen. Now it won't, but you see what I'm saying? Like if Francis throws a hook wrong and I start on his back, I'm going to win that fight. And so it's like, there's just so many variables. 99% of the time in boxing, whoever the better boxer is going to win. And then you kind of got the corruption of the judges in there too, but that's a different story.
Yeah, it is. Let's maybe leave that to one side. 5th Apex fight in a row now coming up, Grant. You kind of been a stable of these Apex shows. Are you happy fighting behind closed doors, or is a part of you look at the pay-per-views and the UFC getting back on the road and thinking I want to be in those arenas?
No, man, I like fighting in the Apex. I know I'm the co-main event, and I know if I was on a pay-per-view, I'd probably be, you know, pushed to the undercard. So I don't mind. I like the Apex. The only quorum I have is I wish I could get my mom and dad tickets. They haven't seen me fight live since my UFC debut, and they really wanted to come to this one. And I'm the co-main event, and I can't get tickets, and that kind of sucks.
I believe I saw a thing from Tim Elliott a couple of weeks ago saying that now that the guaranteed 4 tickets, I believe that you get as friends and family has now been cancelled for Apex shows. Is that
true? Well, the problem is the tickets at the Apex, they're like a VIP fan experience. They're not, you know, your mom and pop tickets. You're not their general admission. Like you get food, you get unlimited alcohol, you get to go into the back, you get to meet. Like it's like it's a whole experience. So I understand why they can't just be handing out tickets. I get that. But man, like you said, I've fought in the Apex the last 5 shows and they're not selling out. So they got room. Like co-main event, mom and dad should be able, and my wife is going to Vegas with me this time for the first time. And she hasn't seen me fight in a long time and see me fight live. You know what I mean? And so I'd really like to get them tickets, but you got to dance to the sound of the music, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. When you announced this fight on your Instagram, I checked the caption. The caption that you put on your post was, "I'm looking to make a statement, 1st of July." What is that statement that you're looking to make? Is that a particular way you want to finish the fight, a particular way that you want to perform, or is it just getting the win over a guy ranked above you?
I mean, it's always about just getting the win, but I think a big statement here is I can get the finish. A lot of people don't know this, man. I've got 19 wins, and out of 19 wins, I only have 2 decisions. I don't think it's talked about a whole lot, which is kind of crazy to me. Like in the lightweight division, I've not finished 2 people. That's it, and that's kind of insane. So I think racking up another finish, I'll be 20-1 with 18 finishes. I think that gives me the ability to say, hey, Beneil Dariush, it's me and you, or even me and Charles Oliveira. But the main thing is I win. I would not be happy with a split decision win, but I'd be way happier with a split decision win than I would a split decision loss.
Of course, of course. Well, for one final question from me, Grant, what I would like you to do, and you can take this, you can give this answer as briefly or as detailed as you would like. I would like you to give me a walkthrough of the perfect day in the 1st of July. What happens when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night?
Man, I think it would be waking up in the morning and just realizing I can eat as much as I can't eat whatever I want, but I can eat quite a bit of food. So I think that'll be it. We always go to the same spot in Vegas. We go to the Broken Yoke, me and my team. We get there, I order the same thing. And then, man, it's just kind of chilling out until it's game time. Something different I'm doing this time is I'm getting an Airbnb. I'm not staying at the hotel, and I'm really excited to see how that works. We'll have our own space. You know, I don't got to worry about running into Damir every time I want to, go downstairs or something like that. So it's going to be good. My wife is going to be with me. She's not in the corner, but she's going to be with me at the venue, and then, or not the venue. I'm sorry, the Airbnb, and then we head to the venue. We get out there, we get the job done, we kiss some babies, shake some hands, and then it's Shake Shack. God willing, we get some Shake Shack.
I love it. Grant, it was great to catch up. It's great to see you back in action in just over a couple of weeks' time. Thank you for your time today, and I wish you the best of luck for your upcoming fight.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on.